Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jake from Chess Nakama, your friend in chess. Today, we have a very nice game between two of the chess young talents in this era. The reigning World Cup champion Javokhir Sindarov takes on the youngster, only 14 years old, Yagiz Kaan Erdogmus from Turkey. An interesting piece of trivia regarding these two young grandmasters is that both earned the title at the age of 12. Sindarov got his Grandmaster title while he was 12 years and 10 months old, while Dogmas, he had his Grandmaster title while he was 12 and 9 months old. Both are amazing chess players, and here they are both playing in the Tata Steel Masters 2026. So let's go, check their game out. Maybe we can learn something from their game. Okay, in this game, Sindarov is playing white, while Erdogmus is playing black. E4 Prosinaro, E5, Bishop C4. Sindarov goes for the bishop's opening. While Erdogmus defends with Berlin defense. Okay, so white has three common replies here that are popular. Knight C3, D3, and more aggressive D4. Okay, so Sindarov went for D3. C6 now for Erdogmus, preparing the E5, challenging the center. Knight F3, Sindarov. D5 now. Bishop B3. Bishop B4 check. Bishop covers. They exchanged bishops. Knight takes bishop. And knight B D7 and both castles. Rook E1. Preparing this rook in case this file opens up. Alright. Erdogmus did the same. Rook E8. D4. E takes D4. E takes C5. Rook takes rook. Queen takes rook. Knight takes C5. And here, Sindarov decides to just exchange his light square bishop for a black knight. I was hoping to take, maybe he can get an advantage by messing up the pawn structure of black. See, this pawn right here becomes a weakness because this is isolated. So Sindarov continued by taking the d4 pawn. Knight f6, defending his isolated pawn and opening the diagonal for black's light square bishop. Knight f1, queen b6, attacking the b2 pawn and at the same time eyeing this knight on d4. Knight b3 now. a5, planning to move a4 and kicking this knight away. Queen e3, Sindarov is offering a queen's exchange. Erdogmus declined. And d4 by Sindarov, protecting his b2 pawn. a4 now by Erdogmus. Knight by d2. Queen a6, a normal development by Erdogmus, at the same time protecting this pawn. And a3 by Sindarov. Rook c8, eyeing this pawn. Knight e3, protecting this pawn here. h5. Erdogmus was taking the initiative to attack the king side. h3 by Sindarov. Knight e4. Rook d1. Knight d6. Queen e5, threatening to take this knight. And this pawn right here is hanging, but white can't really take his pawn, actually. So queen b6, defending this knight. So if white takes his pawn, black pushes this d pawn to d4, and then This knight here has to move away, and rook takes to c2, and the rook controls this rank right here, and it's not good for white. So Sindarov will not take this pawn. Instead went for knight f3. And knight c4, knight takes knight, rook takes knight. In c3, Sindarov thought that you can take my opponent b2, but I can have compensation later. And yes, Erdogmus took the b2 pawn. Knight g5, attacking both the bishop and this pawn right here. Queen b6 now, protecting the bishop. Now this is a compensation by white, taking this d5 pawn. If black takes this rook, there is a maiden one. King cannot go to h7 because this square is covered by this beautiful knight. Yep, so everything is equal right here. At this point, it's still equal. Through Erdogmus defense. Rook d4 now, trying to capture this a4 pawn. Queen b1 gives a check to the king. King h2. And now queen e5, offering a queen's exchange. So Erdogmus was a bit worried about this pieces congregating around black's king. So he wanted to exchange queens, but Sindarov declined this time. Queen e3. And in this position, everything is still equal. It's a balanced game. Until Erdogmus blunders. He moved his bishop to d5. This is a losing move. This is a blunder. And how does white continue to play here? Can you spot the right way to continue for white? Alright, so the queen here, queen f5 is really positioned well. It controls this diagonal right here. And so the right continuation here is to just go kicking that queen away. Go for g4. After the exchange, your queen can no longer stay on this diagonal. But he has to defend this unhappy bishop right here. And the only way to do that is queen has to move to d7, protecting the bishop. And there is another move for white that continues the attack. Can you see it? Of course, it is the queen d3 move. Alright, so previously this diagonal was controlled by the black's queen. But now, she's no longer there, so white took over. Doubling the attack at the same time, and then there it is. A check on h7. An attack to the black's king. So this is why this is a blunder move. So Erdogmus didn't really see the threat there. He was concerned more about this bishop. So he went queen c7 check, king g1, and saving his bishop, bishop e6. Now here, in this moment of time, Sindarov had 9 minutes, while Erdogmus had 5 minutes. And in this position, Sindarov tried to calculate this. I'm pretty sure he saw this one because he moved his queen to d3. And he was trying to calculate it, but couldn't really see through it that this is just a winning move for black. And when he looked at the time, he was running low on time. He was under a minute. So he had to choose whether he would go here, check and attack, which is unclear for him, or just, you know, make a safer move, which he did, by the way. He went for c4 instead of attacking the black king, which made the engine quite sad because this was the best move according to the engine. Not c4. This is not a losing move though, but this is not the best move. So what does black do here? If black captures this with the bishop, this can go wrong for black. Alright, let's try. Black captures this. Then there's a check. King f8. There's another check. Or not check. Rook e4 according to the engine, blocking this king from escaping. And then bishop e6. Queen h8 check. King e7. Queen takes g7. Queen c1 check. King g2. Queen back to c6, defending this bishop. And queen takes f7, and this bishop here is nowhere to go. Can't really defend this, and your king is attacked. So it's really bad for black if it takes his pawn. By the way, what if Sindarov did not move c4 and continued with the engine move? Let's see. Here is the suggestion of the engine. Queen h7 check. King f8. And the engine says, you take the bishop. It's a fork, so black has no other choice but to recapture. And then you move rook d3. The angle breaking move. Rook f3 is next. So what do you do here as black? It's really hard to defend this. White can capture this. Go check. Attack in many ways. Go to f3 and push this pawn to promotion. Alright, so let's see. What if, okay, let's just defend. Let's say black defends with queen f7. Queen f7, rook g2. I mean king g2. Rook e3 is incoming. So white slides to e8. Rook e3 anyway by white. Queen goes e7. And then queen h5. Check for white. So this black, wherever it goes, either this square or this square, rook f7 is unstoppable. Let's just say king goes d8, rook f7. Queen cannot really go in this square because there's a mate. So queen has to defend. And then queen g5 and mate in one. Now it's over for black. So yeah, that is really hard to defend. It's a really bad position for white. That's why the engine said it's really winning for black. Anyway, but Sindarov moved c4 instead. I think this move, if black captured, I think it was more clear for Sindarov. I think he calculated this more than this move here. Yep, so instead of taking this pawn, black slides his king to f8, which is a good move by black, but still in this position he's still losing. Okay, so rook takes bishop, he takes bishop, he takes the knight, queen d7 now, and rook d7, queen d4, protecting this file in case any check for the queen. Queen g3, I mean queen g6, queen f6. Erdogmus really wanted to exchange queens here because his king is being attacked. Queen h7 by Sindarov. Queen h6 by Erdogmus. Queen e4. King g8. King g2. b6. Rook b6. Rook f8. Rook takes b6. Rook e4 by Erdogmus. Queen moves e2. Queen d4 now. c5. Pushing a pawn forward. Queen g5. Attacking his pawn. Queen takes e6 check. King a7. a3. Queen d2 check. King h3. Queen f4. Trying to capture this pawn here. Queen g6 check. King g8. Queen e8 check. King h7. Queen h5. Queen h5 check. King g8. And Queen f5. Offering a queen trade at the same time. Protecting this f3 pawn. Erdogmus takes a queen. G takes a queen. And rook c4. In this position, this is still even according to the engine, even though white has 4 pawns versus black's 2 pawns. But it is more of like a throwish position probably because of this pawn. And this queen can't really help because it's being trapped by this rook right here. Let's see how the game continues. c5 now by white. King h7. Rook a6. Eyeing for this a4 pawn. King f6 now. Rook a5. Rook takes c6. King g4. Rook c4 check. f4. Rook d4. Rook a6 check. King f7. King g5. Rook d1. And rook a7 check. King f8. And finally, rook takes a4 pawn. And here we see black check the king. King goes to h5. King goes to f7. Rook a6. And here, black's rook went to g2, which is a questionable move. Now, earlier, it's still an even game, according to the engine. But now, the lead has come back to white now. This is so much advantage for white. And the engine says this is a bad move. The best move was to check the king on h1. King goes to g4. Another check. King to h4. Another check. King goes on to g3. You check it again. King f3. You check it again. King e3. You check it again. King f2. And then you move rook c1. Let's say if the rook defenses pawn and this pawn, a5, you just go rook c3, not let this king pass this rank right here. According to the engine, this is an equal game, a drawish game. This is a draw. king cannot go past this line right here, and your rook cannot really move. Why? Because it's defending this pawn and this pawn. If your rook moves, then king can take this pawn, or rook can go c5 and take the pawn, right? If this king ever wants to go near the rook can just go pressure these pawns right here, pull back and go here. So, but then rook g2 by Erdogmus was a mistake, and now the lead has gone up for white. a4 now, pushing this pawn for white. Rook g3, a5, rook a3, rook a8, king f6, king g4, defending this pawn. King f7, a6, king f7. Erdogmus had nowhere to go, had nothing to do, cannot really go on attack. He was just waiting to be lost here. a7 now, one step away from promoting into a queen. King f7, repeating the moves by Erdogmus. And this move is such an amazing move. f6. If you take with a king, yeah, rook can just simply go to f8 and check and then promote. And then if g takes f6, which happened in the game, and there's this tactical move by Sindarov, a beautiful tactic, which is very common in this kind of position. Rook h8. Now, if you take this pawn, there is rook h7 check, and your rook and a7, black's rook, will die in the next move. And if you do not take this pawn just simply goes a8 and becomes a queen, right? So either way, it's black. Black here is lost, and in this position, Erdogmus finally resigned here. So yeah, this is a very important win for Sindarov. By this win, he now catches up with Hans and Nodirbek as leaders, with 3.5 points going forward to the tournament. And as for Yagiz Kaan Erdogmus, this is not a good showing in his part, as he committed a few mistakes and missed some chances to at least get a draw in the end game. That's what we saw there. But the tournament is not over yet. He still has some fighting chances in the coming rounds. So yeah, if you're still watching until now, thank you for joining me, and till next time.